People gather to play a real-life chess game in St. Petersburg around 1924. The players are actual humans dressed up as chess pieces. Just a few years after the Russian Revolution, even public games carried a theatrical symbolic weight. A Filipino-American family poses for a portrait in the Philippines, 1912. At the time, the country was under American rule. This photo captures a moment of pride in a complex colonial history. Jewish American soldiers hold a religious service inside a castle that once belonged to Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's propaganda minister. The date is March 18, 1945. It's hard to imagine a more powerful reversal of history. In 1975, during the final days of the Vietnam War, orphan babies were airlifted out of the country to be adopted in the United States. These tiny survivors were caught in the middle of a collapsing war. Kojo Kazula Lewis, photographed in the early 1900s, is remembered as the last known survivor of the Atlantic slave trade in the United States. He was kidnapped from Africa and enslaved in Alabama, decades after the trade had already been outlawed. In 1959, Fidel Castro was captured laughing at a newspaper headline during his visit to New York. It was the beginning of his rule in Cuba, a moment when the United States still held out hope that diplomacy with the young revolutionary might succeed. This haunting image shows the split-second birth of a nuclear explosion, frozen in time by Harold Edgerton's high-speed camera in the 1950s. The shutter opened for just 1/10,000,000th of a second, long enough to capture the raw force of unimaginable destruction. Night fishing in Hawaii, 1948. A quiet, timeless tradition captured in a single photo. Locals using lanterns and spears as they glide across the water in search of their catch. Walt Whitman sits for a portrait sometime between 1860 and 1865. His poetry spoke of war, love, and the human soul, and this colorized photo brings him vividly back to life. Maori women from New Zealand pose for a photo in 1902. Traditional tattoos and clothing stand as a reminder of a culture that survived colonization and remains fiercely proud to this day. Chinese tanks gather before the Tiananmen Square massacre on June 4, 1989. Just hours later, hundreds, maybe thousands of protesters would be killed for demanding democracy. Two homeless men squat in the shadows of the newly built World Trade Center in 1975. The contrast between wealth and poverty couldn't be more stark, even in the shadow of progress. Charles Thompson was the only black student at public school number 27 in 1954. This photo was taken just months after segregation was ruled unconstitutional. But real change came slowly, one child at a time. In 1977, scientists discovered the frozen body of a baby woolly mammoth in Siberia named Dima. It was 7 months old when it died and had been buried in ice for nearly 40,000 years. Frank Sinatra steps off a helicopter in 1964, drink in hand and charm fully loaded. The photo was taken by fellow actor Yul Brynner, a snapshot of effortless cool in mid-century America. Jacqueline Kennedy marries Greek shipping magnate Aristotle Onassis in 1968. Just 5 years after JFK's assassination, this union stunned America and the world. Circus performer Jimmy Armstrong takes a quiet smoke break in 1958. Just a man, a cigarette, and the reality behind the curtain of show business. During the Battle of Saipan in July 1944, an American soldier shelters a wounded Japanese boy inside a plane cockpit. In the middle of brutal war, this small act of care still stands out. Colorized photo of a British soldier surrounded by smoke during a chemical weapons drill, 1941. In an era of total war, even practice could feel like the real thing. Greenpeace activists attempt to block barrels of radioactive waste from being dumped in the ocean, 1982. It was dangerous, desperate, and it helped change global environmental policy. 6 starving peasants from Buzuluk district posed with human remains during the Russian famine of 1921. It's not just a horrifying photo, it's a grim record of what hunger can do. A disabled World War I veteran begs on the streets of Berlin in 1923. Wearing his old uniform, he sits in a ruined economy just 5 years after the war ended. Germany was broken and desperate. Lee Harvey Oswald, who killed President Kennedy, is shot on live TV by Jack Ruby in 1963. It happened in a split second in front of the world. turning one tragedy into two. In 1945, a B-25 bomber crashed into the 79th floor of the Empire State Building in heavy fog. 14 people died, a terrifying reminder of how fragile even the tallest buildings can be. Chinese civilians being buried alive by Japanese troops during the rape of Nanking in 1937. The brutality of this massacre still haunts history, and many still deny it ever happened. German officers surrendered to the Norwegian resistance in May 1945. After years of Nazi occupation, this moment marked the beginning of Norway's freedom and reckoning. Eddie the Eagle Edwards soars through the air at the 1988 Calgary Olympics. He finished last but won the world's heart just by showing up. At Cambodia's S-21 prison, children were photographed before execution by the Khmer Rouge regime. These mugshots, taken between 1975 and 1979, are now some of the only records left of their lives. A boy clutches his stuffed animal amid the rubble of post-bombing London in 1945. His parents and brother are dead under the ruins, but he's still standing. Fidel Castro visits the Great Wall of China in 1995. Decades into his rule, he was still traveling the world, a communist symbol in a rapidly changing era. This is the last known photo of Vladimir Lenin taken in May 1923. Paralyzed and near death, he sits with his sister and doctor, a silent, broken figure who once changed the world. U.S. soldiers in 1945 posed with a luxurious Mercedes-Benz 540K believed to have belonged to Hermann Göring. It was war loot and a twisted symbol of Nazi excess. The bloodied uniform of Archduke Franz Ferdinand from 1914. His assassination lit the fuse for World War I, a single bullet that led to millions of deaths. Soviet scientist Vladimir Demikov stands next to a two-headed dog he created in 1959. Using surgery to graft one dog's head onto another's body, he kept it alive for 4 days. Science or horror? You decide. Finnish soldiers in full chemical protection gear, 1961. Just 2 decades after World War II, this is what Cold War training looked like. Suited up for a future where survival meant avoiding nuclear fallout. Benjamin Ferencz was just 27 when he led the biggest murder trial in history, the Nuremberg prosecution of Nazi war criminals in 1947. He spent the rest of his life fighting for justice. He passed away in 2023, age 103. A man stands in the cornfield he planted in 1933. It was wiped out by locusts. During the Great Depression, nature hit just as hard as the economy, and sometimes harder. This is the only known color photo of the Amber Room, a legendary treasure looted by the Nazis in 1943. After this, it vanished without a trace. Some believe it's still hidden somewhere in Europe. Kids watching a puppet show in Paris, 1963. No phones, no screens, just pure focus and joy. It's a small moment, but one that feels completely timeless. A boy runs to his father, a Canadian soldier, leaving for war. Behind him, his mother holds back tears. The photo was taken in 1940 and became one of Canada's most iconic images. Coal miners ride up an elevator after a long day underground in the 1920s in Belgium. Covered in dust, they look straight into the camera, tired but alive. Barack Obama as a young boy in 1963 playing with his grandfather on the beach. Nothing remarkable in the moment, except that he'd one day become president. July 20th, 1969. Armstrong and Aldrin walk on the moon. Humanity had made it. For a moment, the Cold War, borders, and politics all faded into the stars. One of many selfies taken by Tsar Nicholas II. He was fascinated with cameras. A few years later, he and his entire family were executed by revolutionaries. Adolf Hitler walking with his rifle in 1915. Just another soldier in World War I. Nobody knew yet what this man would become or what he'd unleash. Workers at the Guinness Brewery in Dublin, 1910. Horses, barrels, and men with bowler hats. Ireland's industrial pride frozen in time. In 1935, black volunteers in Harlem tried to join the fight to defend Ethiopia from Mussolini's invasion. Most were blocked by the U.S. government. Only a few made it, but their intent was bold. Japanese soldiers buried an American pilot with a hand-carved sign that read, "Sleeping here, a brave air hero." The The grave was found on a remote Alaskan island in 1943, a rare moment of respect in a brutal war. Cats named Blackie and Brownie catch milk straight from the stream during morning milking. Fresno, California, 1954. Nothing staged, just pure farm life. A Union soldier just released from Andersonville Prison in 1865. Starved and barely recognizable, he survived one of the deadliest prison camps in U.S. history. President Ronald Reagan meets Senate candidate John McCain in 1986. One was a Hollywood-era president, the other a former POW who'd shape American politics for decades. If you enjoyed exploring these incredible snapshots of history, don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next adventure.